you want to be a writer? Well, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. I hate to say it, but if you're a young aspiring writer, you need to know that you can't make money off it. So once we got that out of the way, read a lot. It's good to read so you know how. It's good to practice, write as much as you possibly can, however you can. When I was in the psych ward, I had to ask for a pen and paper and write, and then they took it away from me afterwards. But John Janae wrote Our Lady of the Flowers on his own shit in prison. So if you have the drive, drive is the most important factor. The MFA. I do recommend an MFA. I have one from California Institute of the Arts, which is an amazing school. Calix. Oh my God, I love them. But they really taught me what was what and what I needed to know. That's the pain of it. If you seek out the education, anthologies. Entropy's Where to Submit list is really good for small online magazines who are also really good to submit to your best work, your poetry, your essays, whatever they ask for. Read the instructions. Read the instructions and follow them for submissions. Always putting together. And anthologies are great work. Get your work out there to a lot of people who will read it. I'm in, I don't even know how many, maybe 4, 5, 8. But I do about one every year, and they're great. Take your best work, send it off to the anthologies, entropy, and just try. You have to get used to a lot of rejection, but it is so great when it does work out. Like, for example, I was thinking as I was experimenting with lesbian dating apps that, gosh, this is really interesting. I should consider writing about this because it is a rather interesting corner of the internet and life in the world. So it just so happened that I had been bandying about in my head the idea of writing an essay about adventures on lesbian dating apps. My friend contacted me about an essay, an anthology she was putting together about neurodivergent relationships, and I said, "How about those in lesbian dating and on lesbian dating apps?" And she was thrilled at the thought. So some of you are probably wondering, where does social media play into all of this? And can it be helpful, or should I just stay professional and serious and stay away from it? Well, that's your call. If that's what your job demands, you got to do it. But if you can use social media, it can be very helpful for writers. One thing I would recommend is getting on Twitter, establishing a platform where you just say interesting things all the time and make personal connections with people so that by the time you start putting your articles and writing and promoting your work up there, people are interested and they read them. I've had people buy my books from that. It really does work. And it's also super useful if you are on Twitter to follow the writers because their advice and their insights are really good. And follow as many literary magazines as you can find because that's an awesome way to keep on top of calls for submissions, which might not be in Entropy's list, might not be anywhere. But if you see it and it catches your eye and you think, I could write something for this, go for it. And in terms of Facebook, I know Facebook is rather, shall we say, a complicated issue. I'm holding some grudges about Russia and Cambridge Analytica, but I use it because I have to. So some writers make a Facebook page for themselves. That's the traditional route. And I didn't. I am not exactly a traditional writer. I mean, honestly, I didn't think anyone would like it. But so what I do is, if someone wants to be someone, a fan wants to know what my Facebook is about, what I'm about, they can follow my Facebook, but I would prefer Twitter. But I keep my Facebook mostly to what I'm publishing, what I'm writing, what I'm painting, what I'm doing creatively, because that's my life. My life is my creative work. So social media can be an asset. Let's talk about what it takes to be a writer. You have to be so goddamn dedicated to it that you will sacrifice everything else in your life just so you can write, knowing fully well that you may never make any money from it and never make any money. Well, from the writing you take the most pleasure in and the most joy, and be okay with that because you enjoy the process of writing. I So I would heartily urge you to have a day job, keep a day job, or if you are like me, disabled due to mental illness, which is most certainly not a manic pixie dream girl trope, it is painful, awful, destructive, and life crushing. And if I didn't write, I would give up on myself completely and commit suicide. Which, no, don't worry. Hold off ambulances. We're not committing suicide, okay? Back to normalcy. But, I mean, obviously, I can't teach, right? Should. You just have to be willing to make sacrifices, such as your social life, such as your romantic life. I left a man behind 500 in Los Angeles that wanted to marry me because I would rather stay up all night by myself, writing novels that will never be published, making videos that no one will ever watch, painting paintings that will sit alone in a darkened house, than be dominated by a man again. You have to choose your path. You may have to give up having children. You may have to give up having romantic relationships. You will have to work very hard. But if it all comes together for you, and that sounds like a life you want, go for it by all means.